Evradero first saw the mall state of Galleria at dusk, when the sun hanging over the rusted parking deck spine looked like a severed neon bulb. The outer ring road lay cracked and silent, except for grass stalks whispering against abandoned minivans, their dented flanks plastered with campaign stickers from a country that no longer existed. She paused at the border plinth, a welded stack of food court chairs crowned by a mannequin torso, where a plaque, scrawled in ultraviolet paint, read, "Entry cost, one memory worth remembering, no exceptions." She pressed her thumb to the purple sensor. A filament pricked skin and drank the electrochemical trace of recollection she had chosen, the smell of her sister's hair after swim practice when they were children. The device blinked green. Gate arms, shaped from escalator tines, parted. She stepped over the threshold in a quick shiver of loss, feeling a lock click inside her mind, where that fragrance had lived. The price was non-refundable. Inside, dusk fell faster. 2 tiers of glass roofing had shattered long ago, but the merchant clans had stretched tarpaulin and retrofitted solar cloth above the atrium. The result was a cavernous half-light, lit by thousands of mismatched bulbs, snowflakes from a forgotten Christmas display, emoji-shaped LEDs, a still blazing sale 60% off sign that gave everything a lurid blush. Suspended walkways, once for store employees, had become bridges between clan holdings. Bright silks fluttered like banners. Hologram projectors spat static fireflies that melted against grime-coated marble lions. Avra walked with a traveler's pack and a single item to trade, a Nintendo cartridge labeled The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Original gray plastic, faint hairline crack on the corner, still functional. A relic older than she was. Out beyond the Dust Bowl fringe, specialized nostalgia like that could barter for antibiotics or a year of water rations. Inside Galleria, rumor said, it could buy something rarer, a visa to the techno-matrons at the summit level, who sold re-engineered memories in sealed vials. Avra's quest was simple: buy back what she had just sacrificed. A lanky boy with face paint, patterned like a QR code, approached. "Clan Tumbles are hosting the Coming of the Moon sale," he chirped. "Anything you lost out there, we can find in here." He gestured toward a former cookware shop, whose logo, Chef's Dream, had been remixed with graffiti to read Chef's Dream of Electric Sheep. Red crock-pots displayed plastic brains floating in syrup. Avra shook her head and kept moving, deeper into the beats and fumes of the central atrium. The mall state had declared independence 12 years prior, after municipal government collapsed and the last true police drone flew away. Those who remained, janitors, retail clerks, shipping receivers, had sealed every loading dock, fortified display windows with mannequins packed like sandbags, and survived the famine winter on a mixture of food court oil and frayed optimism. By spring, they discovered that salvage from nostalgia itself was edible, in a fashion, a psychochemical resonance produced when intimate memories met their intact artifacts. Hold an object once loved, breathe the vapor off its still-polished surface, and your brain excreted serotonins your body could burn like calories. The clans formed around store categories. The vinyl imperium claimed the old record shops. The toy lords painted Nerf guns into electro staves. The textilistocracy hoarded vintage band tees whose fabric almost glowed with second-hand fandom. They traded not just goods, but the chance to feel the past through them, a literal economy of emotional nutrition. Avra's childhood settlement, 300 kilometers west, had once trafficked with Galleria through long chain convoys. Then her sister Mara contracted a degenerative prion that ate memory from the inside out, and the settlement doctor whispered of only one possible cure. A bootleg vial from the technomatrons, containing spiderweb nanites that could relace neural pathways if fed proper reminiscence. So Avra volunteered, carrying the cartridge as payment. She simply hadn't foreseen the entry tariff of a memory, and certainly not that they would take the exact smell she needed to conjure her sister. Now the trade had doubled in cost. 3 escalators converged on the atrium floor, their steps ripped out and replaced by hydraulic lifts manipulated by robed operators. A roar rose from the courtyard. Avra saw a ring of people chanting around 2 wasp-yellow bumper cars driven by masked duelists. Tesla coils arced between the metal shells, and each time one driver clipped the other, holograms projected a flashback. A prom night, a superhero movie midnight release, a Thanksgiving kitchen humming with analog warmth. The crowd inhaled sharply at each memory spark. They were literally feeding. "First time here?" asked a woman half Avra's height, her parka stitched from Hello Kitty plushies. She introduced herself as Peony of the Pink Receipt Clan, offering a business card printed on genuine thermal paper. "You look like outside stock. We appreciate imports. What's your nostalgia vector?" "Gaming," Avra answered. "Epic Quest, year 2000, Nintendo 64. Peony's eyebrows arched with predatory delight. Vintage interactive imagination. Very high calorie, very high risk. The Imperium might mug you for it. Come under our banner. We'll negotiate safe trade." Avra hesitated. Every guidebook scrap warned, "Accept protection, owe loyalty." But the cartridge pressed like a heartbeat in her pack, and Imperium scouts in leather dusters already cruised the balconies above. She nodded. They moved through the ancient Sears, now Pink Receipt territory. Shelves overflowed with kitchen gadgets turned ceremonial. Salad spinners repurposed as kaleidoscopic lanterns. Stand mixers transformed into reliquaries of first kiss Polaroids. Peony led Avra behind a mattress display, stacked into a wall. Secret curtains parted, revealing an office where 4 elders sat around a fountain, built from a mall Santa's throne, water-tinted bubblegum pink. These were the receivers, accountants of the clan. One wore a corset of shredded credit cards. Another had glued coupon cutouts into an epaulette armor. Peony spoke rapidly in high barcode, a clipped language of SQ numbers and sale dates. The elders weighed Avra's cartridge in gloved hands, sniffed it, tapped with a tuning fork. Finally, the eldest stamped 10% off across her forehead, addressed Avra in plain speech. "1 cartridge, N64, grade B+. In the outside, it's medicine. Here it's gold. But you ask for a matron visa. That requires triple tribute, and the matron's mood runs stormy. They've glimpsed a coming shortage of authentic first loves. Supply chain disruptions." Avra's stomach knotted. "I can add personal stories, direct from mind. They already took one at the gate. Memory draining is rough trade. The matrons want objects now. Tangible proof, not just synapse echoes." The elder's eyes softened. "Still, we are flexible. We can provide escort to negotiate. Our fee, half the cartridge's resonance. A controlled dilution, rendering it slightly faded, but still potent enough for the cure you seek." "Half is too much," Avra protested. "My sister's life—" Before she could finish, a concussive boom rattled the stockroom door. A siren wailed, the Imperium's anthem. A looping sample of Smells Like Teen Spirit played through a kazoo, the sound of cultural appropriation at scale. Peony cursed. They rate us for not paying last quarter's tribute. The elders dispersed efficient as spreadsheets. Peony shoved the cartridge back at Avra. "Deal postponed. You still require survival. Follow me." Smoke drifted in from the consumer electronics wing. Overhead, Security drones hacked from old toy helicopters buzzed, dropping glitter bombs filled with dizzying aerosol nostalgia triggers. The scent of cinnamon in a grandmother's kitchen. The jingle from a 1990s cereal commercial. The crowd staggered. Starved bodies suddenly flooded with memory sugar highs. Imperium marauders in patched denim stormed into pink receipt territory, brandishing sharpened mic stand spears. Peony grabbed Avra's wrist. The back corridors. We can slip to service level 4. They plunged through a gutted lingerie department. Lace scraps flapped like moths. A burning plasma disc crackled overhead. Holograms of teenage bedroom posters drifted across charred walls. Avra ducked under an archway of giant bras. Halfway through a stockroom, Peony stopped against a rolling clothes rack and listened. They're herding us inward. They want hostages for a memory auction. Avra panted. There has to be another way up to the matron summit. Peony's eyes flicked to a freight elevator shaft missing its cab. We can climb the teeth if you trust me. She unhooked a spool of cassette tape braid from her belt, its magnetic film woven with steel threads. Together, they ascended the jagged ladder rails, cold metal cutting palms. 8 stories up, they reached a maintenance door splotched with glow-stick residue, forming the sigil of the textilistocracy. A T. 2 crossing knitting needles. The door opened before they touched it. A tall figure stepped out, her cloak sewn from tour shirts of bands, broken up before Avra was born. Her hair was shaved into the negative space of a lightning bolt. She eyed them warily. Pink receipts typically phoned before appearing in my attic. Imperium raid, Peony gasped. We need passage to the summit. This outsider carries Grade B gaming artifact. The textilistocrat's gaze locked on Avra. B grade, that might patch a hole in our winter stash. She tapped her chin. But politics brew sour. Imperium wants full mall hegemony. Matrons tuned forecasts. They say the next great famine will be sentimental, not caloric. Everyone will still remember, but nothing left to remember with. Pure starvation of the heart. Avra took a gamble. She reached into her pack, produced the cartridge, and balanced it on her fingers, so moonlit skylight painted the gold contacts. Help me. In return, I'll arrange a trade route from outside. Fresh caches, arcades, libraries, pre-collapsed scrap untouched. The textilistocrat's pupils widened at the words, libraries. Peony watched her process cost-benefit, like a retail POS terminal. Finally, the woman nodded. Name's Rhea Stitch. Come. Beyond the doorway, utility catwalks traced the roofline, where gulls sometimes nested. They followed Rhea through ductwork, emerging in the central atrium high above the chaos. Below, Imperium raiders corralled clan captives against display gondolas. The bumper cars had been flipped and set ablaze, releasing more memory igniters that flickered like dying fireflies. A voice boomed, "Surrender your premium nostalgia or face permanent deletion." Peony muttered, "They stole that line from an old MMORPG." Rhea produced a coil gun from a rolled-up Def Leppard tee. "No originality left anywhere," she said, and fired a silent slug that severed the power cable of a vintage boombox amplifier. The Imperium's speech cut to gnawed static. Confusion rippled below. From the opposite balcony, another faction erupted. The Vinyl Imperium's rival, the Compact Clan, descending zip lines made of speaker wire. Spirals of shuriken-shaped CDs whirled, reflecting signage light. Bedlam blossomed. Clans collided in jagged mosh pits of memory extraction and property seizure. The mega mall became a mixer for ghosts. Avra stared in horror. This entire economy is cannibalizing itself. When the objects are gone, then what? Rhea's shrug was old sorrow. Then we starve and become the ghosts ourselves. She turned to Pani. Get her to the matrons. Maybe new tech can pivot the future. Another slug zipped past her ear. I'll cover. Avra followed Pani down a beam, sliding on knees, dropping onto an unmoving escalator. They traversed through a darkened department called Sensations, whose scented candlestock had long burned away, leaving only swirl-pattern wax stalagmites. At last, they reached a pair of chrome doors embossed with angel wings, the private lift to the summit. A scanner demanded tribute. Avra slapped the cartridge against it. Data lasers read the etchings like sacred text. The doors hushed open. They rode upward, feeling the mall's cacophony fade into a heartbeat hum. The summit level had once been the rooftop entertainment hub. Cinemas, mini-golf, an indoor Ferris wheel. Now it was a mountaintop monastery of stainless steel, overlaid by fiber-optic vines that pulsed in brainwave rhythm. The techno-matrons waited upon thrones of repurposed massage chairs. Their faces were masked with LED veils that shimmered images of memories. A child's face at Christmas, someone graduating, a dog chasing a frisbee. They spoke in a chord of voices, 8 simultaneous, auto-tuned. Nintendo, adventure, time pressure. You seek a memory cure. Avra knelt. Yes, my sister. We know. We harvested threshold recollection at Gate 12, sampled olfactory signature, chlorine, coconut shampoo, affection. You require replacement vantage. Source object accepted, but value diminished by clan handling. B grade. Peony bristled. It's still strong. We risked lives. Strength is measurable. One matron slid forward on servo tracks, extended a silver tube filled with swirling gray nanites. This formula will rebuild your sister's memory gaps, only if fueled by a Class A anchor. Provide such, you leave with cure. Provide lesser, cure decays within weeks. Sister relapses, potential collapse of both lives. Avra's throat tightened. All she had was the cartridge, already rated B+ at best. Her hope faltered. Something then shifted behind her. Footsteps. Rhea Stitch appeared, bruised but smirking. She carried a cloth bundle. Call me sentimental, but I can't watch a world die of heartbreak. She unwrapped a black oversized hoodie covered with patches, a limited edition from the final tour of a band called Luna Kings, whose lead singer had died mid-concert. Only 50 were ever printed. The cloth gleamed with legend. Peony gasped. Even the matron's LED faces flickered a glitch of surprise. Rhea offered it to Avra. Class A anchor, she said. Untouched. My own clan's sacred artifact. It can let your sister remember every song she never heard. Avra stood stunned. Why sacrifice it? Because the mall is burning, Rhea whispered. And maybe someone out there will build something new, not just trade the ashes of the past. That starts with saving a single person. The matron scanned the hoodie. All 8 voices harmonized. Class A confirmed. Exchange accepted. Vial transferred. A drone clamped the cartridge in retrieval claws, along with the hoodie, and vanished into a wall aperture. Another drone delivered the nanite vial. Avra held it, transparent glass warm like a living pulse. Tears blurred her eyes. She thanked Rhea and Peony, words dissolving into breath. A distant rumble shook the summit. Through a skylight, flames and searchlights carved the night below. The Imperium's raid had escalated. Factions tore the atrium to shreds. The smell of burning vinyl laced the air. Peony drew a pink-handled blade. The elevator shaft is compromised. Imperium wants the matron's vaults next. Rhea laughed dark. Then we bypass the mall entirely. The roof has emergency zip platforms, originally for window washers. Leads down to the freight causeway outside the walls. The matrons murmured algorithms. We cannot intervene. Neutrality Protocol. Avra pocketed the vial. You already helped. That's enough. She turned to the cloaked women. But leave with us. Your neutrality won't protect you when nostalgia runs out. Silence. Then the matrons receded into shadows of their thrones. Peace through isolation, like formatting a disk to preserve empty space. The trio sprinted across the summit. Floor tiles glowed under each footstep, triggered after decades of dormancy. They burst onto the rooftop, where wind howled across cracked solar panels. Smoke columns clawed skyward from atrium skylights below, tinted with sparks of dissolving memories. A father teaching a daughter to ride a bike. A midnight release cue for the very game Avra had traded. Those recollections left the world as colored vapor, never to be felt again. They clipped onto a zip platform, an old advertising banner roller repurposed as pulley. Rhea went first, sliding down wire toward the shadows of the once grand parking deck. Imperium spotters saw them, loosing arrows tipped with shards of broken records. Vinyl shrieked through the air. Peony deflected one with her plushy parka sleeve, but lost her grip. Avra caught her harness, adrenaline singing. They landed amid a graveyard of taxis, whose paint had blistered to mosaic. Beyond, the old perimeter gate gaped. Imperium forces hadn't yet encircled. Peony scouted ahead. Rhea leaned against a pillar, stanching a cut on her arm. You'll need a vehicle, she said. Avra remembered the interstate convoys and their solar-pumped bikes. I can manage. She looked back at the smoking mall. Will you come? Rhea shook her head. My people fight there. Pink receipts, too. She flashed a grin. But maybe we'll pivot the economy yet. Start trading futures instead of pasts. Peony returned with 2 pedal trikes retrofitted with battery packs. She slapped a thumb drive into Avra's palm. Specs for our memory harvest gear, plus contact frequencies. When your sister recovers, call us. We'll need outside alliances. Avra hugged her fiercely. Thank you. She mounted a trike, secure vial around her neck. Dawn cracked pale over distant hills. Behind, the megamall flickered like a dying server, once a cathedral of consumption, now a battlefield of longing. She pedaled hard, wheels crunching over strewn loyalty cards, until asphalt replaced debris and horizon opened like an unrendered map. As miles unspooled, Evra wondered which memories she would feed her sister first. The chlorine bouquet, stolen at the gate, was gone forever. She could not conjure that fragrance again. But perhaps they could forge new ones. The scent of wild grass on these open roads, the taste of victory after danger, the feeling of a world larger than a single crumbling building hungering for its own past. Behind her, Galleria fought through the night, merchant clans clawing for scraps of yesterday. Ahead, sunlight rose on blank canvas. Nostalgia had powered survival for a time. Avra reflected, but it could not build a future. Only living memories created in the here and now could do that. She gripped the handlebars, heart light, despite exhaustion. Somewhere in the vial, nanites drifted like bees, ready to pollinate a damaged brain. And out here, beyond the sovereign borders of a dying mall, the currency of tomorrow waited to be minted in fresh experiences, free of discount stickers and expiration dates.